Okay, confession time. I once hid in a closet at a writer's conference, like literally ducked into an empty coat closet in one of the hallways of this university that was being rented out for the weekend for this conference. And honestly, it might have just saved my weekend. Thing is, writers' conferences can be really stressful places for me. And that sounds crazy because I love going to them, I love teaching, I love working with authors. I love all of the networking and connecting and all of that stuff. But I also have a bunch of different special things going on with my brain. I also have a sensory processing disorder. I just can get overwhelmed. And this wasn't even my first conference or my second conference. I'm pretty sure this was my fourth or fifth conference. It was the 2015 Realm Makers Conference, as a matter of fact. And I had my one sheets printed, I had my business cards, I had the look, I was looking business dressy casual, but in a fun sci fi geeky way. But the thing is, I was so focused on dressing to impress, and I was so focused on trying to make sure that I showed up in the most amazingly normal, but also wonderfully geeky way that I would forget my sensory needs, my physical needs, my brain happy needs in this effort to try to put on this whole face, this mask to fit in and talk to people. And the thing is, small talk can be like that. You're not going to have these in depth conversations. Sometimes you do have to make that extra effort and put yourself together a little more and engage in those situations. And there is nothing wrong with that. But also, if you're going to go into a writer's conference and completely remove yourself from your own needs and just try to show up for everyone else and put on your big girl or big boy extrovert pants and then forget about what actually helps you work, friend, you're going to be miserable and it's not really sustainable. And just a quick clarification here, no one in the conference made me feel this way. No one made me feel like I had to do this. This was something that I was like, but this is what you do. I'm a communications major. I understand how the game is played. I know how to show up professionally. I know how to do the things. But there has to be a healthy middle ground between doing the things, being professional, being capable, and also making sure that your own brain needs and physical needs and sensory needs are met. This is not an either or situation here. This is a situation where we need to find the best ways of surviving with the uniqueness, with the overwhelm, with just the need to chill once in a while. Because conferences can just be a lot in general. And especially if you're someone who's more used to doing your writing at the computer screen or more used to being in different environments, it can just be a lot whether or not you're like me and have a super extra special brain of specialness. And I'm officially here giving you permission to pack some extra stuff for your next conference that you're going to need to help your brain work well. And I'm giving you my top 5 practical essentials for surviving and thriving at your next writers conference. This is Janeen Ippolito of Author Culture. Let's chat. And welcome back to the Author Culture Podcast, where we are all about helping ambitious science fiction and fantasy authors just like you achieve your unique personal success in a chaotic publishing world. So if you're here to get tips, tricks, sci-fi geekiness, and all the rest that will help you to work with your life season and hit your finish line in your unique way, you are in the right place. And I am so excited that you are here, friend. And real quick, if you haven't already, do make sure that you hit that subscribe button on YouTube, somewhere up there, and also that you make sure that you're subscribed on the Author Culture Substack and that you're hanging out with us on socials, if socials is your thing. I have a lot of great episodes coming up here, and I will also be at the Realm Makers Conference 2025 and the Realm Expo, selling books and mentoring authors. And this is another nudge that if you haven't already, make sure that you show up at the Realm Expo in Grand Rapids, Michigan. If you're going to be in the area, driving through, hop over and check out the conference center and the convention center. Conference is great for writers. And of course, the expo, which is a brand new expo, brand new thing they're doing this year, is all for you amazing readers. And of course, you writers who also love to read. It's fantastic. It's creative. There's going to be lots of great books there. Lots of fun stuff happening. We're going to have Brent Weeks there. We're going to have Seth Ring there. SD Smith is going to be doing live readings of his Green Ember series, and way more stuff is going down and you don't want to miss it. So I hope to see you there. Now let's dive right into how to survive and thrive at your next writers conference, whether it's Realmmakers or somewhere else. And also, these tips can definitely cross over to selling at conventions or even surviving conventions as a convention goer. We're talking about places where things can be super loud, where things can be a little bit out of control, where the room temperature can be a bit variable, it's unfamiliar, it's strange. This little top tip list is going to help you to survive in any of those locations and thrive and enjoy it more. And of course, if something happens to not be your thing or it's not your jam, that's okay. But you should find a couple of takeaways in this following list that are definitely going to help you as you work on surviving that writers' conference and, yes, thriving. First off, a cardigan or a jacket is your friend. Conferences and convention centers can be crowded. You're pushing through crowds of people, you're, going through a hallway and there's people everywhere, and it can be really nice to have that extra layer around yourself if you're super into getting sensory overloaded, which I am often. And in fact, whenever you see me at a conference, I am always going to be rocking some kind of a jacket or a light hoodie. I actually just got these lighter hoodies and I'm wearing one right now. They're super light, even in hot weather, but they give me that extra layer of comfort and the extra layer of pressure. And it just helps me to focus more in my environment and helps me to cut down on anxiety. And also with conference centers, the temperature is often super variable. So the people who run the conference center might keep the AC up super high because they're trying to compensate for all those extra people in there making the rooms warm. But then maybe the AC doesn't work in your room, so then it gets hot. And if you have a cardigan or a jacket of some kind, you can take it off when it's warm, you can put it back on when it's cold, and life is better. And again, if you're like me and need that little extra bit of sensory pressure or a little extra bit of comfort, it is really, really great for that. It's like your own special kind of armor because armor is cool. The second thing I recommend you bring is earplugs and or earbuds. And I mean, you can also bring earphones, but those are pretty obvious. And I know that these days just having giant earphones on is kind of a thing, but if you want to be a little more subtle, earbuds are your jam because you can just tuck them in your ears and they're not this big device on your head. The thing is, guys, conferences are loud, especially in ballrooms, book fairs, crowded panels. There can be a lot of people around you. And especially if you're the person where you don't want to wear a cardigan because you're like hot all the time, but you want to have a little extra sense of distance from people around you, you're getting overloaded. Earplugs are your jam. I always travel with these because, again, sensory overloaded. I never go to a movie without wearing earplugs because otherwise the volume is too loud and it's too much. That's just me. Audio overwhelm can be super real, and earplugs are very inexpensive and a way to combat that. And the reason I also say bring your earbuds because sometimes you don't just want earplugs in your ears, you want to actually be able to escape for a bit. And I like this especially when I'm at conventions. And I know when you're at the table, you should always be on your best behavior 24/7 and like eyes glued on every single person going by, which personally I think is slightly creepy. In the future, we're going to do a video of some of my thoughts on what works and doesn't at sales tables. But when you're at a convention center and there is no one around, it's a dead place, there's no one to come to your table, earbuds are your friend because you can put them on, you can listen to some great soothing music, it can recharge your brain. It's a fantastic thing. Now, obviously, if you're at a conference and you're trying to learn from someone in a classroom, you're not going to be wanting to listen to something else on earbuds. That's going to be confusing unless you're the kind of person that can listen to two different things at the same time, which I am sometimes. But even then, it can look a little weird to have earbuds in when someone's talking to you. The optics aren't great. So just be aware of that. We do want to make sure being respectful of the teacher. But regardless, earbuds can be your friend as well if you want to actually have that musical escape. And then if you just want to be able to turn the volume down everything, highly recommend earplugs for you. When I go to the Realmmakers conference and I'm going to the banquet in my awesome cosplay, I am going to be having earplugs in so that I can be there and be present, but not be super overwhelmed by everything around me. It is super okay to protect your focus and make it easier for yourself to navigate this situation if you deal with auditory overwhelm. The third thing that I never go to a conference or convention without, in fact, never really go anywhere without, is something to fidget with. This helps for my ADHD brain. This also helps when I have like the desire to kind of stim or something to be able to center myself. And these are really great for grounding. Now, the thing is, I know like I think it was like 8 to 10 years ago when I was teaching at a school, the biggest thing was fidget spinners. And oh my goodness, as a teacher, that was the worst thing ever because you have this kid like at the front saying, I have to spin this really noisy thing to keep myself focused. And I'm like, dude, that's great. But my brain is being very distracted by what you're doing to keep yourself non distracted. So these things, these objects don't need to be flashy. Please don't make them noisy. If you need to have some background noise, that's where your earbuds come in and you can just put it in your own ear for yourself, sound of waves or something to calm yourself down. But in terms of a fidget object, something that's not going to be very noisy, it can be a smooth stone. I actually got this from someone. It's like a mushroom that if you're on the podcast, so you're not seeing this visually, it's a little crochet mushroom that you can just pop in and out. And it's really actually very soothing to chill yourself out with. And it's also very cute. A rock here that I can just play with. Plus, if you're up there just like playing with a like this round, smooth stone in your hand, people are like, "Huh, what is she doing back there? Like, is she just trying to help herself focus, or like maybe she's about to open a portal to another world? We don't know." If nothing else, you can fiddle with a pen, or you can just hold a pen in your hand and like scribble on a piece of paper or something. That's totally fine. If you need to fidget in some way, go into this situation, into this conference with ways that you can fidget without really having to distract anyone else. And I know people are like, well, but I shouldn't have to hide this and I'm okay with who I am. I get that. I'm okay with who I am too. I also need to fidget, but I have a deep, abiding desire to be able to do that without annoying the person next to me who maybe doesn't need that and it's going to drive them crazy. This is something that I've learned being in a marriage where my brain is special, my husband's brain is special, and like the thing that will help me to focus is the thing that's going to make him completely not focus. So when you're coming into a conference, absolutely bring things that are going to help you to focus and help you if you're getting stressed, but mindfully think of things that are going to help you and not completely distract the person next to you who may have different things that bother them. And that's why I love fidget objects that are low key, that don't take up a lot of space, that aren't going to be super noisy, but also can give you something to manipulate if you need to. As a matter of fact, I'm going to have to tell myself not to just keep playing with this little stone ball while I'm recording this podcast. Tip 4, and this seems kind of obvious because I know people will often say, hey, make sure you bring a water bottle, which I have a pretty awesome one here. But also, snacks are your friend. Snacks are okay. Snacks are awesome. In addition to having a bunch of awesome, wonderful, unique things about my brain, I also have a number of food allergies. I have a wheat allergy. I can't tolerate dairy like at all, but I do in fact love bacon. So sometimes I end up in places where people assume I'm vegan because I don't do dairy. And I'm like, no, I like the meat. I just can't do the dairy because it will make me very sick. But at conference centers, food lines can be long, supplies can be limited. Sometimes the food isn't, absolutely amazing. The conference directors do the best they can, but they have what the center gives them, and that can be here or there. And then sometimes you have to do a pitch session that's going to go over lunchtime, or maybe you have an afternoon blood sugar crash or whatever. Just bring snacks. And I mean, I'm just pulling out what I have in my purse right now. I have an ABC bar here, and then I have one of these. They're called True Bars, and this one tastes like mint chocolate chip. Not entirely, but it's okay. It's mint, it's chocolate. It's really making an effort for a vegan protein bar, so we're gonna give it like a good solid B plus. And I also just have protein sticks in here. Try to take things that aren't super crinkly or crunchy because again, if you're going to be maybe munching on something in the back of a conference room, you don't want to be that person who's like constantly crunching and shaking their bag of chips and like distracting the teacher or stuff. Again, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, I need this, and that's great. I'm all about you getting the things you need to survive. But let's do this in a way that also makes it easier for everyone else to survive. So things that are going to be like quiet things you can stash in your purse or your backpack or a pocket and munch on and keep your blood sugar going. I'm a huge fan of snacks. You can't go wrong with a snack. Think ahead, get some snacks. It is a lot cheaper if you order these things in bulk or if you go to Sam's Club than if you just try to grab some stuff at the gas station. And you're going to be networking a lot and talking to a lot of great people. And it is not so easy to do that when you are hangry or have an empty stomach or lightheaded. Let's get some food in you and keep you together through the conference. And my fifth essential is a notebook and or a cell phone if you don't really do notebooks. Don't expect yourself to remember every single conversation or name at this conference. In fact, don't expect yourself to remember most of them. There are people who have this superpower where they can just remember everyone and everything and all the details all at the same time, and that's great. I don't have this superpower. The way that I fake it is I take notes on my phone or I write down notes in a small notebook. So, phone, notebook, either way, totally fine. If you talk with someone, you're like, hey, we need to network. We need to cross promote our books. We need to hang out sometime. Don't just take their business card. You take their business card and make a note saying, hung with this person. Follow up to hang out. Follow up to cross promote. Follow up, in my case, to have them on the podcast. Follow up to do some kind of collab. Take notes. It is your best friend here. And again, if you're not really a writing person, pull out your phone. Take audio notes. But don't expect yourself to remember all of the cool stuff that's going to happen at this conference. You won't. And it will be so much less pressure if you can just have a way to document it in the moment and then move on. So again, in summary, jacket or cardigan, earplugs and or earbuds, snacks are your friend, some kind of fidget item that is not going to distract everyone else around you, and take notes about people or interactions on your phone or in a notebook or on the business card, although that can smear sometimes, but notebook or phone is great. And of course, if any of these things don't make as much sense for you, if you actually don't need anything to fidget with, then don't take anything to fidget with. That's okay. But there's still good stuff in this list. Pick what works, leave the rest, and have a great conference. And if you're looking for more tips on ways to do this author life productively in a way that makes sense for you, do check out my video all about whether you should be a night owl or an early bird and figure out your best strategy with that. And I also have a great video on how to choose your ideal book events for every single year based on 6 questions to ask yourself and ask about the book event. And friend, you got this. Own your process, own your needs, be excellent to yourself and everyone else around you, and you're going to have a fantastic conference. This is Janeen Ippolito of Author Culture. Go forth and be awesome.